how really healthy do you feel right now after dealing with that nagging injury?
The ankle's doing pretty well. It definitely was nagging. I've been going through the past couple of weeks, just working through their practice and in the training room. But I definitely feel as if I can step up and produce for the team now. I'm feeling good at practice today and all throughout last week, so feeling pretty confident in it.
How frustrating was it? It seemed like you were really off to a good start this year, and then you have to deal with that and have to try to put that behind you.
It's pretty tough. Just knowing that in this game, injuries happen. And it's also good to know that I have good guys behind me. And Ricky Walker stepped up. Tim Settle came in big the past few weeks. But, I mean, it is pretty tough being a senior. You miss being out there with the guys. But still, I try to go out there and lead them as best I could on the sidelines, in the weight room, at practice. And just making sure my presence was still there in a positive way.
I know you guys say you kind of want to treat every week the same, but is there anything different about Virginia week? Is there any extra energy or anything playing those games?
Of course, with the rivalry week, there'll be some extra energy in there. But we're still preparing the same way in practice. A lot of guys, a lot of in-state guys know the implications a little bit, going back home, talking a little trash and stuff. But I say overall the preparation's been the same. The guys still have the same focus, want to know this week. And it's an important game because it's the next one. And I'm just looking forward to playing them this weekend.
You signed here in 2012, and that's kind of when the program hit this dip here for the last couple of years. To get it back to a position to possibly win the conference championship, how important is that for you to finish up your career like that? And how enjoyable has it been to kind of get the program back to a better level than it was before?
I know during like my recruitment and everything, that's where we were. Going to the ACC championship, I think we came just off the Sugar Bowl game. And I remember watching those games growing up, being an in-state guy. And I remember always working towards that since I've been here. We've fallen short the past few years. And just feeling how close we are right now is definitely a pretty big feeling, especially guys I came in with that haven't had that chance. And just playing for each other and pushing the younger guys to do the same has been an enjoyable process. And just taking it one game at a time has helped out a lot. Just keeping focus on the task at hand. And the UVA game is a big game, and I'm just looking forward to beating them. And we're doing work this week to be 1-0.
Nigel, what kind of game do you anticipate this week in terms of the offense that you'll face?
Excuse me, can't say
I'm
again?
sorry. What kind of game do you expect this week on Saturday in terms of the kind of offense you're going to face, in terms of your responsibilities against it?
I think UVA has a really good team. The record might not show it, but definitely watching film, they work really well together, the new coaching staff, and it looks like they're brought into the new program and stuff. So it's going to be a good game, just the way they play for the coach and play for each other as well. And definitely the last game of the season for them as well. And so they have nothing to lose in this game. So it's going to be a lot of energy on both sidelines. So just looking forward to playing our best and doing our best and bringing it all together from all the stuff we put in throughout the season. Just bring it all together for the last game of the year for the season. So looking forward to that.
Nigel, excuse me for not remembering, but did UVA recruit you at all? Did they offer you a scholarship, and did you consider them much?
UVA recruited me. Being from Richmond, I was always close to Mike London because they practiced right down the road from my house. So I was always there growing up, watching them during camp and stuff. And so I had a pretty good relationship with Mike London and his staff. And my high school coach knew Mike London, Jim Reed, and Coach Hanson and all of them. So we were all pretty close. But I think the biggest thing that brought me here was just the family atmosphere. And I just felt that a little bit more here. So that's what kind of drew me here more so.
Did UVA offer you?
Yes.
Okay. Would you say you grew up a UVA fan? Or?
No, I would not say that. Yeah, I grew up always watching Virginia Tech, watching guys like Tyrod, Tap, John Graves. Just looked up to a lot of those guys.
You mentioned being an in-state guy, and obviously a lot of in-state guys at UVA. Is there anybody there that you're friendly with or maybe had a rivalry that goes back quite a few years? And if so, have you cut off ties with them this week? No talking to them at all?
Not so much anymore. I think a couple of guys I talked to in the past was probably like Kwani Moore. I was pretty good in touch with him through high school football and basketball as well. But I think he graduated last year, so all my ties are cut right now with UVA, just focusing on beating them now.
How far has the offensive line come from the beginning of the season to today as far as the cohesiveness and how they're playing as a group?
I mean, obviously, the season is always a work in progress. I definitely think that we've done a good job of learning Coach Weiss's scheme and doing what he wants us to do. And obviously, it's been working out pretty well for us. There's some stuff we still need to work on, but I definitely think that we're taking steps in the right direction to get where we want to go by the time the end of the season rolls around.
Augie, you guys don't have the biggest senior class here, but for you guys to make it all the way through as a group, how special has that been to get this far and then sort of ease that transition with Coach Fuente coming in? How important was that group in making that happen?
I think like when I first came in, my senior class was I think like 35 people, and we're down to 9 now, and 4 of them I think are the ones I came in with. We've got a couple true seniors that they didn't come in with me, but we're down to my class is down to 4. So I mean it just goes to show that college football isn't for everybody. I mean people leave, transfer, just quit football altogether for different reasons. I mean it just goes to show that college football isn't easy, and anybody who can go through it and do as well as some of the guys in my senior class. I applaud them just because college football isn't easy, and it's definitely a tough thing to do. A lot of people just see us on game days, but there's a lot more that goes into college football that people don't realize. And it's a job. So anybody who can go through 4 or 5 years of college football is, regardless of whether or not they play, has my utmost respect.
Did you guys feel like you needed to really buy in with Fuente when you came in because there was such a small group? People be looking at you guys.
Obviously you want to buy in and set a good example for the other team, but I don't think it was necessarily an issue with buying in, at least with me personally. I knew ever when I first met him, I knew that if I like what somebody's saying, it'll be easy for me to buy in. So I knew I was going to buy into it, but I think it was more setting an example / what the future is supposed to look like here at Virginia Tech under Coach Fuente. So I think that was more of the bigger concern with the senior class, is just making sure that the younger guys know what work ethic and how things are supposed to be done here at Virginia Tech under Coach Fuente.
Just to follow up on Andy's question, is there something that been a driving force for you as far as why you've stuck it out over the course of the last 5 years? Like, what is motivating you?
Obviously wanting to win a championship is one of them, but to be honest, I wouldn't say there's a single driving force that's motivated me to stick it out, but just because this is an opportunity of a lifetime that most people would kill for. So I was pretty much handed a gift from Coach Beamer, and I was going to take every advantage of it that I could. Just most people would kill to be in the position that I'm in, and it doesn't last very long. So I was going to take as much advantage of it as possible.
Obviously, you guys have dominated this rivalry for the last dozen years or so, but games have been close the last 4 years in particular. Do you get a sense that when you guys go out there against some of these UVA teams that have struggled, that this is kind of their Super Bowl in a way? This is their bowl, and maybe they play a little harder? Do you get that sense? Is there a little more trash talk?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when it comes to rivalry games, you can throw records and stats out the window just because, I mean, when it comes to rivalry games, it doesn't matter how your season has gone. Anything's possible in rivalry games. And I guarantee you, when UVA walks out there on that field, they're not going to look like a 2-win team. I mean, and that's the beauty of rivalry games, just because, I mean, in college football, it's anybody's day. So, I mean, records honestly don't matter to me when it comes to playing UVA. I don't care if they've won every single game in their season. I don't care if they've lost every game in their season. It's going to be a tough game, and that's the way we need to approach this week during practice.
It seems like running the ball all season has just been tough to establish that consistent ground presence for you guys. What do you really think has been the biggest issue on the ground?
Well, I don't think we've had a whole lot of an issue running the ball against Notre Dame, who is probably one of the best defensive fronts we've seen all year, considering we shoved the ball down their throat pretty much the entire game and stayed ahead of the chains. So I really don't see much of a problem with the run game.
Hey, Augie, not to get too far away from go back to UVA stuff. Like, does it, with the rivalry, it's been so one-sided for so long, how much more pressure, or does it add pressure for you guys to not be that team to end that streak? Because I know you don't, but how much pressure does that add going into this week?
I mean, I don't think there's a whole lot of pressure on being that team to end the streak, but I mean, we don't sit here and take this game as serious as we do because we don't want to end the streak. We take this game as seriously as we do because we want to beat UVA. I mean, the past 12 years that we've beaten them, all those stats, all the touchdowns, all the interceptions aren't going to help us win this year's game. So I mean, I really don't have much of a pressure of being that team. Obviously, you don't want to be that team, but I mean, I feel like the pressure is more on beating UVA because they're UVA, not necessarily because of the streak. It's a rivalry game, and it's going to be a tough game. But I wouldn't say there's a whole lot of pressure on being that team to end the streak. I would say the pressure is more on beating UVA just because it's a rivalry game.
You've been around Sam Rogers for 4 years. You have any good stories about him this time here?
I mean, I wouldn't say there's one single story. Sam Rogers is definitely an acquired taste. He outworks just about everybody on the team. Makes everybody look bad sometimes, me included, just with how hard he works. But I mean, to be honest, he's earned everything he's gotten here at Virginia Tech. Nothing has been handed to Sam. He's worked for everything he's got. But I mean, I'm glad he's on our team. I'm glad he's a Hokie because his leadership and his work ethic are second to none.
Was there ever a time where he was doing something extra and you're like, oh man, you're making us look bad? You could tail it back a little bit.
It wasn't necessarily that he was making us look bad, but I remember like freshman year when he got here, I think it was the spring after his first year. He had class across the drill field, and he would have like an hour off, and he would walk back across the drill field, go run routes with one of the quarterbacks for like 35 minutes, and then go walk back across the drill field to go back to class. And I was just like, I mean, if you got the energy to do it, more power to you. But I mean, there's never a time when Sam is not doing anything with football. I mean, it doesn't matter what time of the week it is. It doesn't matter if he's running routes or working on ball handling or just sitting there looking at his playbook. He's always doing something with football.
Augie, 20 years from now, when somebody asks you, what was it like spending 5 years at Virginia Tech? What do you remember about your time at Virginia Tech? What do you think you will tell those people?
I mean, I think the biggest thing about my time at Virginia Tech is just the family atmosphere that I've experienced here and the support from the fans is, I mean, it's unlike anywhere else in the country. Obviously, when you're not winning games, it's frustrating for the fans, but just the family atmosphere here, I feel like is one thing that I'll take with me forever, and just a sense of community when it comes to Virginia Tech and the people that are in support of Virginia Tech is unlike anywhere else in the country, and that's probably something that I'll remember forever.
Do you think you'll be one of those guys that comes back on the sideline for games?
I don't know if I'll be on the sideline for games, but I'll definitely come back. Obviously, it'll be tough to come back and just be a fan. But I mean, obviously, I'm going to miss it. I don't want to be on the sideline and get in the way of what the team is trying to accomplish. I don't want to be a distraction. Just because it gets crowded on the sideline, I don't want to be another body on the sideline. But it'll definitely be tough to come back and not have any say on what happens on the football field. Appreciate it.
Brendan, I know you have played in games against UVA in the past. Do you have to educate Gerard about how to dislike UVA this week, or does he pick it up pretty quick?
No, I think he's got it figured out. I think everybody let him know. He's picked it up quickly, and I don't think we have any problems with that. So.
This isn't a huge senior class here, but the core guys that made it through, is there a special bond there between you guys and kind of what you've gone through with the coaching change and everything?
Yeah. These guys, man, they pour their hearts into this organization, and I couldn't be more proud of them. They're my best friends. I see them every day. We come in and work together every single day, and we've built a really good relationship with each other that'll last for a long, long time. So, they're all hard workers. I'm proud of all of them. And like I said, we'll be friends for a really long time.
Is it hard to believe it's coming to an end here for you?
Yeah, man, it's kind of scary, bittersweet, but I think the season has been a really good season for us to go out on with all the hard work we put in, and then how things have gone in the past and where we're at now in this season, where we could be. I think the season is the way to go out. I'm excited for the rest of the team. I'm happy for our senior class about what we've done throughout our career. So it's bittersweet, but we got one more in lane, and hopefully we can make it our best. So.
I know it was probably disappointing not to get the quarterback job this year. How do you look back at your time here and this season in particular?
Yeah, I wouldn't change a thing. Honestly, I wouldn't change a thing. My time here has made me the person that I am. It sculpted me into the person I am, and I wouldn't change a thing about it. I'm here for my team. I'm here for these guys. I'm here for this senior class I just talked about. If I would have left and went and did something else, it just wouldn't have felt right. So stuck around, did it for the team. So.
You touched on it a little bit, but how important is it to you personally to help get this team back to where they used to be, fighting for an ACC championship?
Yeah, I mean it's a huge deal. That's why a lot of people came here to win ACC championships, and beyond that, it's a big deal for me. This is really the first time that I've been able to compete for ACC championship. So, hopefully we can set that standard going forward. That it's not okay to go 6-6, 7 whatever. But, to get those 10-win seasons and get back to the ACC championship every year, that's what it should be. We have the recruits to do it. We definitely have the coaches to do it, and it shouldn't be. It's unacceptable now to not compete for the ACC championship every year. So.
Brendan, when talking about it coming to an end, you used the word scary. Curious. Is it because it went by so fast, or is it because you're scared of what lies on the other side?
It feels like I was at Duke a couple of years ago, running my first play. Like, it feels like that was a couple weeks ago, but it's just scary to think that it's almost over with. I've been here for 5 years, put in a lot of work, Came in here every single day, and it's coming to an end. So,
you know what's next for you after your career ends?
Well, this coming up spring, I'm actually getting my second degree, and then after that, you know, if next, God willing, next level thing, that it works out. If not, I'll go into wherever my degree puts me in. So,
what is your second degree in?
my first one was property management. Second one is consumer studies. So, yeah.
You've been around Sam Rogers for 4 years. We always hear about his intensity.
Mhm.
Is he as crazy as he comes across sometimes? Or do you have any good stories about him?
I got a lot of good stories, but I won't share them with y'all. He's a very hard worker. He's a great guy. I'm sure people have been talking about him all day or all year. He's like nothing I've ever seen before. He's a guy that puts in the same amount of work. He's never satisfied. He's never happy with, you know, what he's done. Always working. He'll stay out of practice, you know, 10, 15, 20 minutes later than everybody else just to work on what he needs to work on. So he's something else. He's a different kind of guy. When I first met him, I was like, how did this guy get here? Like, what are we doing? But you know, we go out there, and I remember he would ask me, hey, man, can you throw me routes? Can you do stuff with me? Yeah, I'll work with you, of course. And then next thing you know, in the springtime, he's getting first-team reps and, you know, and then playing from there on out. And like I said, when everybody first saw him, it was like, what is he going to play? What is this guy? What is he going to do? How is he going to help us? But, you know, obviously he's helped us in a tremendous fashion. So.
Talk to us about how you prepare. Excuse me. You have had to come in on several occasions this season, cold off the bench. What do you do to keep yourself mentally focused so that if it does happen, you're ready to turn it on in an instant?
That starts at the beginning of the week. That starts on Monday and Tuesday before practice. You gotta mentally prepare like you're the guy that's gonna start, like you're the guy that's gonna play. And you know, I've had to do that for the past couple years. And you just gotta act like you're the guy that's gonna play on Saturday. And then, you know, when you get to game day, it's easy. You know, you see what their defense is doing, and then when you have the opportunity to go in, you just got to make it count. You can't have a drop-off from when you go in. And so.
Any other questions from Brent?
Is it worth it? I mean, all that work that you put in, you know, if you don't see action in the game, is that all that been rewarding enough?
Absolutely. I'd rather be prepared than not be prepared. Like I said, if something were to happen and I had to come in and I wasn't prepared, that's me not doing what I'm supposed to do for the senior class that worked their butts off every week and they're, you know, playing their hardest. So if I come in and I'm not prepared, I'm really, you know, doing a dishonor to my teammates. So that's something that I'm not willing to give up, I'm not willing to do. So I always want to stay prepared.
mark is the position. Got a good aim, change the whole world with my good game. Bullseye, every time I shoot, got the hood fame. Platinum, they know, it's the rapping them. Money get made, it's the great, and the trapping them. Playboy doctor, microphone rocker, general. I am so committed to the roster. President, take off, me the sensei. Hot when I rock it, his fingers is caliente. We peeking, left the arms, the region, yeah. We getting down, sexy sounds now beating, come on.
Hold me the eye of the tiger. Got my head on the prize, is the way you're getting higher. I don't want going by you. I'm higher. Hold me the eye of the tiger. Got my head on the prize, is the way you're getting higher. I don't want going by you. I'm higher.
Y'all ready? Well, thanks again to everybody that made the trip to South Bend. Really an inspirational show of support for our kids. Hokie Nation continues to do a fantastic job supporting our young guys as they work hard to try and represent Virginia Tech. Awfully appreciative of that. Appreciative of our seniors. This will be senior day for us. A fantastic group of young men that have worked incredibly hard for this football program. Worked hard and bought into everything that we've tried to do since the day we got here. Just on a personal level, I can't tell you how much I appreciate the way they've handled the transition. It's been absolutely fantastic. Anything, I'm not sure there's a first-year coach could ask for anything more than what we've gotten from these seniors. They've done a great job. Tremendous challenge this week with Virginia coming to town, rivalry game, conference game, all those implications. Been a hard-fought game, regardless of record or home or away. I think our kids have a great understanding of what's in front of them and what we're going to get and how hard-fought this ball game will be. So we'll need to draw our focus inward again and do a great job preparing and worrying about the things that we can control and hopefully play as well as we can. I do have one bit of unfortunate news. Marshawn Williams, we lost Marshawn Williams for the season in the game last week due to an injury. Marshawn, as you all know, has been through several injuries in his career. He has handled it incredibly well, positive. It's one of those kids that, as I went over to try and comfort him yesterday, he made me feel better. So obviously we're thankful for Marshawn and mindful that he won't be with us for the rest of the season. Questions?
Just as Marshawn, a knee injury or?
Yeah.
Okay. Same knee as far as
I don't, he's had a couple of them. I don't which one was which and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But he actually went back in and played. Wow. I didn't know about it. We didn't know about it till yesterday. Wow. I mean, I said, talked to him yesterday. I said, Marshawn, you went back in the ball game? He said, yes, sir. I wanted to win. So.
Just some rivalry week thoughts. You grew up around and experienced some pretty big rivalries, obviously. With I don't know which one might have been more important to you or bigger to you growing up, OU Texas or Bedlam or the Nebraska game, Nebraska OU, and then was there anything at Murray as far as big rivalries that you experienced, any memories that you can share with us of those things?
Well, it was kind of interesting growing up as a kid in Oklahoma between, there were a lot of things that changed as I was growing up. Between Oklahoma and Nebraska was always a conference Thanksgiving Day game. And then as the Big 12 came about, you had Oklahoma, Texas that became a conference game. And then you always had the Oklahoma State deal. So the thing about this rivalry is its consistency in terms of, Virginia Tech. There is no other, at least to my knowledge, there is no other peripheral rival that falls in line. It's pretty clear. So I think that makes it unique, and fun to be a part of. It should be celebrated. Pete and I were talking earlier, and part of what sets college athletics apart from professional athletics are the rivalries and the fanfare, the pride that goes into those things that make them special.
Coach, I got as a Western Kentucky guy, I have to ask you about the red belt. Do you remember that rivalry at all?
I do. We, Western started moving around when I was at Murray. I can't remember the exact timeline, but eventually they left the Ohio Valley Conference, and we didn't play them. But my first year at Murray was Willie Taggart's senior year at Western Kentucky. And we played at Murray for the red belt, and we beat them in a shootout. I'm still holding that over Willie's head, but it was a pretty good rivalry. I don't know that the red belt started with the trainer, I believe, something to that effect. But they got us back the next year. Willie graduated, and then they beat us up there. So it's amazing wherever you're at and whatever level you're playing at. The feelings you have towards winning the game never change. I remember talking to some people about when I played at Oklahoma and we played Texas. My feelings were no different than when I played at Murray and we were playing Eastern Kentucky or Western Kentucky. Those feelings of still wanting to win and compete are the same regardless of what level you're at.
And even before that, before you told us about Marshawn, I was going to ask you about Stephen Peoples, and he got a little extra workload on Saturday. What have you thought about him? And now that Marshawn is hurt, what does that mean for him? Is it kind of the same going forward as far as his workload?
Yeah, Stephen has been playing well, at the fullback spot, and we felt like he deserved a few more opportunities to get on the field. So we've over the last couple weeks, we've worked him in there, carrying the ball a little bit. I don't know how Marshawn's deal really affects that whole rotation. We haven't had that meeting yet. We just found out about it yesterday. So we'll obviously look at all that moving forward.
You talked about that senior class. How specifically do those guys help when a coach comes in? Is it about getting other guys to buy in? Is it just setting an example? Where does that come from?
I think it's both. I think it's setting the tone. You know, it's when you have a group of seniors that buys into whatever the message is immediately, it helps the younger guys fall in line. I also think, you know, when you go through a season and off season, there are all sorts of peaks and valleys and ups and downs with individual players. And when you have a strong group of leaders, they can help those young players navigate those things and help them get through those ups and downs, whether it's playing time or schoolwork or, you know, whatever it is, or personal life, whatever it is. Those guys, those older players have a great perspective on it and can help those kids ride through those highs and lows. And you know, change is usually hardest on people that have been doing something a particular way the longest. And you know, for a group of seniors that had been doing things a particular way for 3 or 4 years, to have things change on them and have them respond the way they have, I just couldn't ask for anything more.
One of those guys, Sam Rogers, kind of a unique person. Have you coached anybody quite like him with that sort of intensity or that attitude?
You know, we all have guys that we get to coach along the way that we know are special. But there's another category of guys that are elite in everything that they do, and those guys don't come along very often. You know, Akeem Davis at Memphis was one of those guys that I only got to coach for a year as well. But there are just not too many people like Sam. You know, guys that, you know, whatever they end up doing, they're going to be incredibly successful at. Guys that truly are willing to do whatever it takes to help the team be successful, and focused and hardworking. True credit to his family. They did a great job raising him.
Coach, last week I asked you about overcoming adversity. Nice job with that. I wanted to ask you seriously, though, about the fan base. You've mentioned this a couple of different times here. Have you ever experienced a fan base like Hokie Nation, where not necessarily so much at Lane Stadium, but when you travel, when you go on the road, they show up in force? Have you ever experienced anything like that?
No, I have not. You know, I've tried my best to articulate my appreciation, and I'm not sure I'd do it justice. I just think it's absolutely unique and fantastic. The way they turn out to support our kids through cold or rain or snow or yeah, I mean, you think about, you know, the conditions on top of the miles traveled. It's really a unique thing. It's one of the many things that sets this place apart. It's just the pride in Virginia Tech is unique, in my opinion.
Coach, just to piggyback on Andy's question a minute ago about senior day, you remember your senior day and what that meant to you as a player, now having been a head coach, kind of what it means to you? Obviously a reflective time, an emotional time, yet there's a game to play and you want to send those guys out, right?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I do. It wasn't that long ago, but I do. I remember bits and pieces of it, and you know, it's you know, for those that really love football and love the school they're going to, it is a really emotional time. You obviously know that you need to take care of business and play the game, but you know, there are kids that you know, across the country that'll play their senior game or senior day game. Our guys won't be one of them, but some of them are. That'll be the last time they ever get a chance to play football, and the finality of that weighs heavy when you're a kid that's played sports ever since you were in elementary school. You know, to me, that was, for me personally, that was the heaviest part of the whole deal, is that I may never get to play any sport again. You know, noon hoops is a lot different than getting to play college football. And the finality of that, I think, weighs on some people. Fortunately for our guys, they're going to have another shot to get to play.
Coach Motley was in here earlier, and he said he wouldn't change a thing over his tenure here. Can you reflect at all on him? I mean, his role as your backup quarterback, and you know, putting him in against Pittsburgh late in that game, maybe what that showed about what you think about him.
Well, none of it works without Motley. You know, if Brendan isn't a team player, then none of this happens. The little bit of success we've had throughout the season, we wouldn't be able to have it, because you know, those things just don't work if people are divided. And turned to Brendan in the pick game, said, "You're in," and he says, "Yes, sir," and jumps right in there, and we don't miss a beat. And you know, the way he goes about his work on a daily basis, the pride he has, again, like many other Hokies in Virginia Tech, and genuinely wanting what's best for this program and this team, speaks volumes. Can't say enough good things about Brendan.
Coach Fuente, appreciate your time today. Just want to ask you, I mean, you have some experience going up against a Bronco Mendenhall coach team. Just talk about that last game and going up against a Bronco Mendenhall coach team.
My last game against Coach Mendenhall? Is that what you mean? Well, the thing you know is they're going to be well coached and they're going to play hard. That's absolutely indicative of every team I've ever seen Coach Mendenhall be a part of. He's very well versed in his defensive scheme. He knows it inside and out. They do a great job with that. And Coach Anai has been with him for some time on the offensive side of the ball, and they certainly know what they're doing over there as well. So you always know you're going to be in for a tough test.
Just, I know you don't have any frame of reference for Woody Barron before this season, but did you see something early in the season or in the preseason about him and just the way he approached things that kind of gave you an idea that he was headed towards some kind of special season, or so maybe there was an incident or anything like that, any interaction with him that made you think that this was a different kind of player?
All of my interactions with him had led me to believe that he was a special person. You know, that's what I would say, is just in terms of his maturity level and intelligence and toughness, in terms of showing up every single day and giving it all he's got. I didn't know what kind of statistical season that would produce, but I knew, or I felt like we had a really good, solid spot right there heading into the season. And you know, he's obviously had a fantastic statistical year, and it couldn't happen to a better guy.
There was a ESPN list of all the coaches' favorite musical artists. Yours was Dave Matthews Band. I was curious if, given their connection to Charlottesville, if you have to shuffle your iPod this week or anything.
You know, he's from South Africa. Do you know that? He is. Yeah, I'm not changing. Sorry. But I get it. But guy can't help where he ends up living, can he? You guys good? Thank y'all.
depth at defensive back, Coach, has kind of been a question during the course of the season with some injuries that are starting to pile up. Is there any concern right now out of you and your staff as far as the depth of your defensive back core?
There is, and we'll address it this week a little bit more with some guys that we'll look at a couple spots, when it's all said and done.
In the film you've been able to watch so far, are there any noticeable differences between Benkert and Johns at quarterback for UVA, and do they have any different skill sets?
Johns has really only played, this last game, started this last game, which we've had experience with him before. They're going to run their offense. Both kids can throw the ball well. I think the Benkert kid moves a little bit, has a little bit more mobility, but both are kids that are very capable and very similar in a lot of ways.
Coach Foster, appreciate your time this afternoon. I just got to ask you, you've experienced this rivalry over the last nearly 3 decades. Just talk about UVA week and just playing the Cavaliers.
Well, obviously this game is big in a lot of ways. For us, since we've been in the ACC, it's obviously been big from a standpoint of we've been in this situation before that we're going to be in Saturday, that we've had to win our division, or we've had to win to go on, have a chance to win the ACC. And so that makes this game, even over the years, that even makes this game even a little larger than maybe it was, in my opinion, before we joined the ACC. I mean, obviously it was, in the past, it was for bragging rights, it was for recruiting, and it still has a big factor in that, I believe. But I have a lot of respect for that program, for that place, and we've been fortunate to come up on the positive end more often than not here lately. And but in the end of the day, it's a feather in our cap from a standpoint of recruiting. I'd like to think. I know we've got 2 new staffs in this. Basically at both programs and both institutions, and obviously a win would be important, to jumpstart and help us within the state as far as state recruiting goes.
But this isn't a very big senior class that you guys have. Maybe a little more on your side of the ball in the offense. But how special has this group been in kind of getting this program back to where it wanted to be?
Really, and I've said it after the game and said it many a times. I mean, I'm really proud of this group. They came in on the tail end of a couple back-to-back Coastal Division championships and an ACC championship, and had expectations to go do that. And unfortunately, we haven't had that opportunity till right now. And but I think it says something about them, their perseverance, and their willingness to buy in, and it's been a group that's stuck together. You look, it's a small group. A lot of the guys didn't hang on, and that makes this a special group. They've seen good leaders. They've seen leaders that in their position that maybe not quite as good as team leaders, and maybe selfish guys. And this group has been totally unselfish, totally team first. Have done a tremendous job of dealing with the change. Have bought in, and have been great leaders by example as much as they have in what they've done on the field. And I'm just talking about their attitude in the weight room, their attitude around the other players and the coaches in the office and in the weight room, and those type of things, which carries over onto the field. But I'm happy for them, and couldn't be more proud of a group of young men that's really stuck in there and done it the right way.
But you heard Justin talking about Woody. Woody seems to be the kind of guy that's had a perfect upward trend throughout his career. Each year, he's kind of, as he's gotten more and more playing time, seems like he's gotten better and better. Is he a guy that you sort of point to when you talk to young players, say, try to be like that guy if you can, as far as
no doubt.
His progression is
concerned?
concerned?
There's no doubt. I mean, the one thing that Woody does is, obviously, he comes to work every day, and that's what's made him a better player. And he takes coaching very well. He takes corrections well. He wants to improve, so from that standpoint, when you're coaching him, and you can coach him hard, but he wants to please and wants to be a good football player. But he's a guy that obviously you see the result is from his effort and work ethic. And experience is a part of that. But a guy that's just steady Eddie and since the day he's walked on campus, and a guy that, brings it every day as far as wanting to sharpen the tools in his toolbox, so to speak, or a guy that's wanting to improve his techniques and fundamentals every day. And that's what we harp on. Let's improve every day on, and master our trade. And I'd say that's what he's done. And he's been a guy that it's not surprising to me that he's had the type of year that he has because of his past and what his work ethic that's put him into this spot. And I just wish we had another year out of him when it was all said and done. But he's a guy that, he's a poster child for work ethic and being a consistent person and a consistent football player in all aspects of his life. As good a football player is, he's an even better person. That's, as a father, as a mentor, as a coach, whatever. That's one thing that makes you real proud of, the type of young men that, and that particularly that he is, but the young men that our seniors are.
I know you don't coach him specifically, but you've been around here a while. Have you seen somebody quite like Sam Rogers, personality-wise or work ethic-wise or anything?
No. I don't like Sam Rogers. I love Sam Rogers. He'd be a great player wherever he went. I told him yesterday he'd be a great linebacker just because he would will himself to do that. But, just a complete competitive young man, and just on the field is a nonstop ball of butcher knives, man. I'm telling you, he just goes 100 miles an hour, and if you're in his way, you're going to pay the price. I mean, he's going to execute and do the right things. He's a coach on the field. He wants to know everything. So I mean, he could call the game from the running back spot where the quarterback could play. And but you talk about an unselfish guy. And that kind of goes back with this senior class. I mean, he's very similar to the same boat as Woody that we talked about, Kenny Canham, Nigel, but Sam having the opportunity to compete against him, every spring and every fall camp. I don't know if there's a more competitive kid. I don't know if there's a more team first oriented, caring kid than Sam, that we've had in this program for a while. I mean, just really. Just the special qualities about him as far as, and again, another guy as good a football player he is, and he's going to have an opportunity to go to the next level because of just who he is and his toughness and his being consistently good in his effort and work ethic. He's even a better person. And again, I'm proud to say that about all these seniors, and he's one of them and been one of our top leaders from that standpoint.
Little follow-up to Norm's question with Woody's work ethic. Are you seeing that being kind of rubbed off on the younger guys? Are they picking up on what he's doing and taking that out to the practice field every day?
I hope so. And that's something that we'll point out, and we have pointed out. And when you get it going, and we had it this way, and I think the last few years I'd say our overall talent level, we've got to get that back up to where we were. To have great quality depth. We're talking about secondary and those type of things. But when you're good players, your best football players have that kind of work ethic, and that does rub off. And there's a reason why you're successful. It just doesn't happen. You've got to make it happen. And those guys, Woody, Sam Rogers, Nigel, Kenny Canham on our side, I mean, those guys are work ethic guys, and their success is because of that. And it's a great tool for us and a great mechanism for us to use for these young guys. If you want to be successful, this is the way you do it. Now, this is what the game demands, but it's also these guys are great examples of of how you can earn your success.
Hey, Coach, I'm sure Coach Fuente, when he's out on the speaking circuit, spring, summer, he's heard about the Virginia game, how important it is. I'm just curious if he's come to you or Coach Wiles or anybody that's been here and ask anything about the game or those guys, or have you guys offered him anything as far as that game's concerned?
He hasn't really come yet. We talked a little bit about as a staff yesterday. You know, I think he talked to Coach Beamer and asked him any advice. He said, go practice well, you know. And that's really what it's all about. I mean, this game, it's a great rivalry. It's a clean rivalry. That's the one thing that I think there's mutual respect both ways. I know on the field you don't like one another at the time, but I think there's a mutual respect, or has been, from both sides. But at the end of the day, it's played between the lines, and that's how we got to do it. You know, it doesn't do us any good to talk off the record, so to speak, and that type of thing. But obviously, I think the game, particularly for guys that have been in this state, you know, you take a guy like Coach Beamer, for example. I mean, he grew up in the state of Virginia, you know, and knows what that rivalry is. Has been that way since he's been a little kid. And you've got two guys in Justin Fuente and Bronco Mendenhall who are hearing about the rivalry. And I think they'll see it once game time comes to place. But trust me, Coach Fuente, he understands you know, what this is all about. And yeah, so we're you know, I think he's ready to roll. And like I said, we've talked a little bit, but you know, I know he's, like I said, he talked to Coach Beamer and trying to get a little feel for what this thing's all about.
But when Adonis briefly went out the other day, I guess we saw Terrell go to cornerback, and then you brought in Darion, and you kind of, it looked like you flipped him and Chuck, because I guess Chuck is sort of your jack of all trades. Is Terrell your number 3 cornerback? Is that
Probably
kind of
would be. You know, probably would be. We have Curtis Williams, who Curtis has done a wonderful job on special teams, and has done a great job as far as working the game and being ready for us to go play. But when it's all said and done, you want to get your best 11 on the field. And Terrell could play corner, was a starting corner for us last year, and Chuck can play that. Our rovers and free spots are very, very similar. And we just felt like that was our best matchup, particularly with Notre Dame's skill kids. I mean, they're very dynamic on the perimeter, and we felt like that was just the best way to go.
Hey, Coach, going back to the rivalry, is there any one game that really stands out in your mind over all the years?
Not really, to be honest with you. They've all been, I kind of remember the first one, to be honest with you, and we got beat, and that kind of really set the tone for me to the fans how important this rivalry is, and you know, to both programs. And but we've had a lot of great battles, and like I said, fortunately, we've been on the positive side here lately. But we're going to have to go play well. You know, offensively, these guys they do some unique things, and you know, they've got some outstanding skilled kids. I think Mizell's playing as good a football and athletically and dynamic as anybody will see. They've got some quality receivers, and you know, they're always solid up front. So. We're going to have to go play very, very well, but we're looking for the opportunity, and you know, the one thing about this game, like I said, and since we've been in the ACC, this game's meant a lot more to our success than it meant, you know, prior to. So they're all big when it's all said and done. Happy Thanksgiving, Ken.
I don't know if you heard it or not, Woody, but Coach was just kind of raving about your work ethic. What motivates you on a day-to-day basis to come out and give your all to Virginia Tech and to your teammates?
Yeah, you know, I think more so than anything, I think the game demands it. You know, so many good players, so many good teams all across the country. I think even to give yourself a chance, you know, you have to put in an exceptional work ethic. And you know, I have big aspirations just like we do as a team, so I just try to give myself a shot.
Woody, not a lot of guys from your recruiting class have made it this far, this deep into their careers. Is having a small group like that make it all the way through? Does that make it any more special that you guys kind of got through that or persevered through these last couple years together?
Yeah, I would say it does. We've seen a lot of our classmates come and go for a host of different reasons, and just to be, the group that kind of stuck it out and was able to be here, that just makes it that much more special.
Woody, I don't know if you were in the room just talking with Bud about how you sort of, he called you sort of the poster child for work ethic, and it was kind of in reference to how you progressed each season. You've gotten more and more playing time. How do you feel like, how did you kind of approach each season, should I say? I mean, considering the fact that you were sort of targeted to get a little more playing time each season, was there something that you felt like you needed to improve each year? Is there a part of your game that you felt like you needed to get better at as you went on? Was there something that you felt like you weren't as good at earlier in your career that you're better at now?
Yeah. Going into each season, my freshman year, just like my senior year, I approach it as I'm the starter because that any play somebody could get injured and that'd be an unfortunate event, but you could be thrown in the fire. And so throughout the summer and whatnot, I just try to be realistic with myself, look at the film, look at what you struggle at, and try to turn your weaknesses into a strength.
Who was the guy, or were there a couple of guys that sort of mentored you earlier in your career, sort of took you under their wing, and either defensive linemen or either other starters on defense at all?
Yeah. There's been so many great players who have been in front of me since I've been here. When I first got here, Derek Hopkins was in front of me. Luther Matty was there for the past 2-3 years. Corey Marshall, just a natural-born playmaker, just great examples that I could look at, and it was easy to see, this is how you got to do it if you want a chance.
As a Tennessee guy, I know you were recruited by Tennessee. Did they ever wind up offering you? Or?
No, I never got an official offer.
Okay, so I guess Tech was one of your top offers on the list. What got you here? What was sort of the selling point? I mean, everybody says family, but was there something else that sort of drew you here? Was it opportunity or something that one of the coaches said at all?
Yeah, like you said, my uncle, I grew up watching my uncle, and I just kind of grew up a Hokie fan. And, I had a list of things that I wanted out of my college experience. And, none of them are promised, no matter where you go. Nothing's promised to you. But I saw the opportunity to, get a great education, to be able to become a Hokie, something I had watched Coach Foster and the defenses over the year, just being able to be a part of that. And then the opportunity to, be as good as I wanted once it was my turn on the field. I just saw all that room for opportunity here, and so it was a great choice for me.
Did Jim press you at all? Do you feel like you got pushed at all to come here?
Oh, no, no pressure. He gave me the respect of knowing that it was, it was my opinion and my situation. He kind of gave me the car keys in that sense of the matter. But, I was a Hokie fan from early on.
Woody, did you ever have a welcome to the rivalry moment against UVA? Sort of somebody talk trash to you after a play or a hard hit or something that you said, okay, this is important to both sides here.
Yeah. It doesn't take much. You don't have to go far from Blacksburg to realize that there is this tension between the two schools. And, there's a great respect off the field, I think, for the two teams and vice versa. First time I played them, we were actually at their place. And first play of the game, it wasn't overly hard, but I could feel the contact, and I could feel, that both teams really wanted to win. And I knew that this was something important to not only the guys from Virginia who had grown up watching this rivalry, but everybody on the team like myself.
Any other questions for Woody? Down here to Norm.
Last question. Do you feel, we've asked a few other players, do you feel the pressure to continue this streak of wins, considering it's 12 wins now in a row against UVA? And do you feel, would there be some kind of pressure to not be the senior class to let that in?
Yeah, I wouldn't say pressure. This rivalry's been going on long before I got here, and it'll continue long after I'm gone. we just want to go 1-0 this week, want to beat a good Virginia team so we can, continue our season.
How early on when you got here did you kind of understand the rivalry between Tech and UVA, and who kind of helped you understand that?
Yeah, I didn't know until the week of. I mean, most of the rivalry games were the people that these guys hate. I don't know till the week of, and I learned from the whole team. It's just throughout the whole team, from Sam Rogers and all the guys on defense and all the guys that played them the last year, just express the hate they have for the team that they, for some reason, I'm new here, so I don't know any better, but Molly does a great job of expressing that as well to me. The hate that he has for certain teams, and he makes sure that I understand. Very clear, and this week is no different. I mean, obviously, I know it's a rival game. I'm not naive, but at the same time, I don't know the magnitude of the rivalry. Again, I only could learn and know from what they tell me and how they express it and how they feel. So emotional about it. So I only could go by that.
Being a Texas kid, how was playing in the snow up in Notre Dame? And have you ever played in that type of a cold environment before?
It felt just like Texas. No, not really. But, yeah, it was weird. It was different. I mean, again, I'm not used to it. First time I saw a lot of snow was in here in Virginia in the spring. So playing in the windy environment, super cold, definitely different. But when you have the hopes and dreams of the team in your hand 100% of the time, the ball in your hands all the time, your mindset quickly changes, especially if you want to win. And I just got I started getting adjusted to the wind, the coldness, and all that.
Did you have to do anything to keep yourself warm during the game?
I never sat down until like the fourth quarter, I believe. I just kept moving. I felt like if I sat down, then yeah, it wouldn't have been good.
Gerard, you mentioned Motley earlier. How has your relationship with Brendan evolved over time since you met him? What does he mean to your team as a backup quarterback?
Yeah, it definitely has evolved tremendously. I've always had tremendous respect for him, just for the simple fact he's a senior on the team. And as we had the quarterback battle, it was always professional. It was never no animosity between each other. We both wanted the team to win at any cost, at any stake. And me winning the job, he never wavered in what he wanted as a teammate, and that's for the team to be successful. And with that being said, it has grown because he's always in my corner. Again, he wants the team to win. It don't matter who's playing. And him be a senior and a quarterback at that, because, I mean, the whole team looks at the quarterback situation. And if we're not all on one accord, then the team can easily pick and choose who they want, who they like as a emotional leader, as a even kill leader, whatever they see fit as their leader. They can easily pick and choose, but he doesn't go that route. He just keeps his head down, keep doing his job for as still competing, still learning, and he always has my back. So as a senior and as a quarterback to do that shows how mature and his character as a young man, and I respect that tremendously.
Gerard, I'm curious, do you remember what it was like when you first met Sam Rogers when he got on campus? Was there a moment where it's kind of like, whoa, this guy's pretty intense?
Yeah, not one moment in particular, but it's a lot of moments that he does that shows his intensity of the game of football that he loves so dearly. I would say this: I've never met somebody that matches my work ethic. This guy, I mean, he prepares like a quarterback. He goes in film study. In spring, I couldn't tell him to stop practicing. I couldn't tell him to stop working on his blocking. I couldn't tell him, like, he always asking me to come out there, which I was going to do anyways. But his just willingness to just be great is unmatched. And kind of weird to have somebody same intensity as me is like kind of weird. We butt heads sometimes because we that way. At the same time, we understand where we're coming from and our ultimate goal. And I love that guy to death.
What is the butting heads with Sam like? What
Nothing,
there?
nothing like major. Nothing major. It's just he sees certain things certain ways because he's a perfectionist, and I see certain things certain ways because I'm a perfectionist. But at the end of the day, we put our differences aside and get the job done because we want the same thing. And again, the butting heads is not like a bad thing. It's just like, okay, we get each other. All right, let's move on. So that's pretty much what it is.
Any other questions for
Gerard,
Gerard?
Vegas is declined to throw out the records here. I mean, they made you a 20-point favorite. I know you don't care about that, but you're expected to win. What have the other guys told you about sort of how much differently Virginia will play compared to what their record says they will play like?
The guys don't have to tell me about any of that. I've been in rival games, and I've been where we were definitely more talented, more athletic, whatever you want to say from outside looking in. But you can never count out anybody in a rivalry game, especially with the emotion that's involved. And being in-state, you get the bragging rights. You hear it all the time. So the players didn't have to tell me about that. I know what I'm getting myself when it comes to a rivalry game. I just don't know specifically this rivalry game. With that being said, it's going to be intense because it's a rivalry game. I mean, they have nothing to lose. They're trying to make us not go to a bowl game. So, to the ACC title. So that's their aspirations, and ours is to go. So 1-0 this week, and it's going to be a great game.